And we are back with this thrilling edition of the Doin Alright podcast on a Friday after the Cowboy W. We brought to you by our good friends at Ownwell. And boy, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah.
We gonna need some help with our damn property tax. We get all this money from these Cowboy W's here, Bryan Broaddus. Let me tell you what the algorithm's gonna do today, sir. Let me tell you what the algorithm's gonna do today. I got a black belt in YouTube, Bryan.
Okay.
Nobody else working today.
That's true.
Cause they sitting around with their family, sitting around eating and doing their little thing. They little leftover thing, they little turkey sandwich thing that they doing today, bro.
Sure.
We gonna be the only ones in the algorithm today, Bryan.
I appreciate that.
They gonna come up in here and be like, "Hey, man, I wonder what Voch and Bryan got to say about this old Chiefs Cowboy thing, right?" You know what I'm gonna say? Cause I'm a fan and I'm not partial at all. I'm not neutral at all. Bryan, did you see that game, man?
Crazy, wasn't it?
It ain't just the Raiders, Bryan.
No.
Because national media will try to condition you a little bit. You know, they'll be like, hey, man, watch out for that Raiders team.
Yeah.
That old defense will come out and do a little something to you, Bryan. But after you beat them, they'll go, oh, it's just the Raiders.
Just the Raiders.
Boy, Bryan, they was having shouting matches about Philadelphia prior to the Cowboys game. Why y'all disrespecting Jalen Hurts so much?
Right.
Why y'all doing this to the Eagles offense? They winning.
Yeah.
Man, the Cowboys go out there and beat the hell out the Eagles, Bryan, in a spectacular fashion. All of a sudden, man, it's just the Eagles offense, man. Jalen Hurts been struggling all year. Bryan Broaddus, Pat Mahomes went out there, and not only did they big him up pregame, but Pat was Pat.
It was Pat.
And I think that's what I find most impressive about this thing. The Cowboys weren't going to rise until your defense did something.
Right.
Until your defense improved who they were. Mm-hmm. Brother Mahomes looked like the GOAT today or yesterday.
Yeah.
129 quarterback rating, Bryan.
Yeah.
Beat the hell out you, 4 touchdowns. Quentin Williams tried to get a sack on him. He ducked and dodged. Cowboys supposed to have 12 sacks yesterday, Bryan.
Right.
He ducked and dodged all of them, whooped you downfield and everything. But the algorithm going to bring people up in here, and they going to want to hear how Dak Prescott dueled that guy.
Sure.
And hung in there.
Right.
And got a W at the end, and they didn't give the ball back to him. I've been making a big fuss about learning how to win games like this, bro.
Sure you have.
And you can go out there and beat up on all the teams that you're supposed to beat up on. But when you run into these good teams, the moment of these good teams, the adversity that good teams bring to you, on top of the idea that you got the best quarterback in the past however many years doing his thing, and you were still able to overcome that, Bryan. Talk to the algorithm. We the only ones working today on post Thanksgiving, Bryan. Talk to the algorithm about what it means for this Cowboys team to go out there and put hands on the Chiefs on that stage while Pat was being great.
Yeah, but you brought it up though. This is a guy that up until the build up to this game, we were talking about Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the best defensive coordinators ever to roam the sidelines when you look at what Kansas City brings on a weekly basis. That was a huge win. That was a team, we've talked about it a bunch. We've talked about desperate team theories. We've talked about how they need to match up. All these things really came into focus for you yesterday. Yeah, there were some moments where, at the end there, you kind of tried to maybe give it away a little bit. You were fortunate that you didn't have an interception down there in the red zone. Anytime you want to get mad at Turpin, just remember him like beating 4 Kansas City Chiefs to the football to basically save that drive right there in that game. Everybody that's dressing for the Dallas Cowboys in this day they find ways to contribute. We talk about the quarterback, we talk about the receivers. We even let you know about Nate Thomas, what we think about him playing left tackle, which was fabulous yesterday. Yeah, Nate's going to have some struggles. Every one of these offensive linemen are going to have their struggles. But for the most part, though, they did exactly what they needed to do. The quarterback was outstanding. The blitz pickup was outstanding. When you start to talk about Williams and what he was able to do, they ran the ball with some effectiveness, though the defense on their side, it's Pat Mahomes. He's kind of an unorthodox quarterback. He's going to scramble. He's going to extend plays. He is going to find the one son of a gun that is wide open when your cornerback falls down, and he's trying to fall down too. That's just what you're dealing with when you deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. And for you to get out of that game with a victory says a lot about the coaching staff. It says a lot about the players. And it also says a lot about, too, the fan base. I was there watching that game. That was a battle when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and how they travel, with their fan base too. That was a battle in the stands as well. So really, everything about that Thanksgiving Day game was perfect for the Dallas Cowboys to get out of there the way they did.
Bryan, you kind of getting the feel that the Cowboys are going to maybe take a drive or two. This on offense and defense, really. They're going to take a drive or two to really get the feel for the game and figure out what needs to be had. And once they kind of settle down a little bit, that's when they go fly. I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row. Really 3, if you include the Raiders game or whatever. Like, a team will start off versus the offense and the defense, right? Like, we'll start off a little slow. We may give up some yards on the defensive side, and even on offense, maybe, stall a drive or two. But, like, once you figure it out, you fly. The Eagles game, Raiders a little bit, and this one as well. Like, Pat came out flying early, and it was easy for him. And that partly had a lot to do with the turnover and all this kind of stuff. But first 2 scores happened fast.
They did.
But then the defense did their thing, and they settled down a little bit. And then it turned into you may score once every 3 drives or something like that.
Right.
Bryan, is that like an adjustment thing, or is that like talent coming to play?
I don't know what's going on with the first 15.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know what's going on with the first 15 defensively when you get into games. I will say this about Flus. When you go back and watch and study it like Voch and I have for you this morning, you are going to see the situation where all of a sudden, you're looking at this Cowboy defense and you're like going, okay, he's searching for ways to try and play this quarterback. He's not just sitting there and playing zone coverage. He's not, and there were a couple of times we've been screaming, they need to think about the spy. Damn Mahomes, you spy him to get 16 yards on a play.
Demo
spy, yeah. And so, sometimes the best made plans, don't work out always. But the thing I got to give Flus some credit for is he was searching in this game. He was searching with his zone coverage. He was searching with his man. He was searching with his 5-man line. He was searching with his nickel. When you play a quarterback like this, there is going to be a period. You have an idea of certain quarterbacks, how you want to play them. This guy, you really don't. You got to find out, hey, man, what's giving him trouble right now? Is there anything we could do? Can we move the front? Can we bring a blitz? Can we show a different look? Can we take a safety and put him down in the box? What do we have to do? I think Flus early in that game was having the search because it looked really bad with the way that Kansas City was moving that football. But again, you get in the second half, much like the Philadelphia game, you start getting some stops. Now, I'll tell you this, though. When you look at the officials, though, and the way they called that game, though, there was a couple of calls that slowed the Kansas City Chiefs down, that took them back, some holding calls that they had, an offensive pass interference that set them back, that helped you get off the field. But you got to take advantage of that. And I think the early problems that they had a lot to do defensively with the quarterback. But the offense, though, like I say, Dak had an opportunity. That interception, when we went back and watched it, you could see that Dak missed a hot read. They get the blitz, and the blitz affects him getting the ball the outside to Pickens. If he throws the hot and you see Ferguson release and he's clapping for the ball, much like we used to see from Jason Witten. Witten would turn, clap for the ball, and Tony would get him the ball, and then, you just take your play and move on. But Dak was committed to trying to get the ball to the outside, and then he did not feel or see the blitzer, and that affected the play. So, when Dallas makes mistakes that way, when they don't pick things up or they do something that it causes them some problems and throws them off schedule, that's when the offense will struggle a little bit. We've seen it with some penalties, like the lining up, illegal procedure, holding, things that have set them back have been a problem. But unfortunately for that first interception, Dak missed the hot read and trying to make a big play to Pickens, and that kind of led to a problem right off the jump.
Pressure Pat 14 times, Bryan.
Yeah.
3 sacks on the day. Clowney got 2 of them.
Right.
Quentin should have had 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just another example of like Quentin just making life easy for everybody. But even when he's not on the field, Bryan, I was actually mad watching the game yesterday because it was one of these situations where like we were in a very tight situation. And I was like, man, why the hell Quentin Williams not on the field?
Sure.
But Quentin plays a ton of snaps.
He does.
I just hate to see him not out there because I know that when he's out there, he's whooping somebody.
Right.
But even when he's not, though, Clark is fine. Osa is fine. I was actually shocked. I need to apologize. Hey, man, Sam Williams, my bad, bro. I've been hard on Sam Williams all season, Brian. And to be fair, it took him 13 weeks for me to come out here and say it. But Sam Williams plays some very sound football on offense and defense. So shouts out to you, player, Brian. But D-line in general, I feel like when the Chiefs were pressuring Dak, it was like how they get down. It was like the big blitz situation, right? Cowboys blitz here and there, but it was mostly like our guys just kind of whooping feet on guys, bro.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Quinnen again, Clowney again, Donovan Ezra-Roku still doing things in the run game, Brian. Still kind of doing his run game thing. We still waiting on him to get back into his pressure mode, but maybe he's not getting pressure because your interior is getting all the pressure, Brian.
Yeah, I think to me that Kansas City got a little compromised in this game, and you were pointing out during the week when you were doing your Kansas City breakdown how with their guard situation not being good, with them taking out their Pro Bowl, injury forcing their Pro Bowl guard to be out of the game, and so now all of a sudden, and then they got injuries during the game, which really affected how they were playing at the tackle spots. And I think that's where you started to really see. I think Dallas has become a team where they really, really rely on their inside pressure. And I think that's something that a lot of teams are going to. I know it's another thing you pointed out several weeks ago is, are we getting to a point where these big-time quarterbacks are more affected by inside interior pressure than they are with the outside pressure? If you look at the metrics going into this game, Patrick Mahomes, about a 38% passer when facing interior pressure. That plays right into Dallas's wheelhouse too, especially, they've got an all-pro center in Creed Humphrey there, but their guards were a little bit compromised in this game. And that, in fact, helped Dallas to do some of the things. There were several times where Mahomes is just being Mahomes. That's the frustrating thing about playing him. But you look at the inside pressure. You look at what Clowney. Hell, one of Clowney's sacks, he gets knocked on the ground. And Mahomes is extending. What does Clowney do? Old man Clowney gets up and runs over there and gets a sack. That's what you got to have, the effort. You're seeing a lot better effort from this team when it comes to how they're running their stunts. They're still not as clean as they need to be on some of these things, but I'll tell you what, though, when they do what they're supposed to do, when it's executed well, they're a very, very difficult group to block, especially one-on-one.
Man, Bryan Broaddus, Savon Revel played 57 snaps yesterday.
How about that?
One person never makes the difference, Brian.
Yeah.
I used to coach football, man, and that's the wrong rhetoric to go after, right?
Sure.
Just one guy is gonna do it. Brian. To be fair, in this situation, maybe it's like 4 or 5 guys. To be fair, but Savon Revel just doesn't look like he don't belong out there. Yeah. Like, he looks like he fits right into this thing. It feels like he's been playing football for a while. He doesn't look like a rookie out there, Brian, and he played a ton of snaps. Kalen Carson wasn't out there playing. So that's probably why Revel got so many reps. But when bad things happen, it wasn't always on the Revel side. Like, it may be a little here and there, but Revel played just fine. I don't want to be lazy and be like, oh, well, just the pass rush is better, so Revel's better.
No.
I just think he just fits well. He just plays well, Brian.
Yeah, I think, man, you're right on with that one. And to me, when you watch him play, the thing, and I was talking to somebody in the organization this morning about him. This guy goes, hey, how do you think our rookie played out there? And I said this when I watch him play, because I have a vested interest in this kid. I know draft time, I put my name out there for him. It was one of those things. I think this is the best corner that I've seen play. And so with that being said, I have an interest. I want this guy to have success. I have to kind of temper my thoughts about him at times. But you're absolutely right. When he looks totally comfortable wherever you ask him to play. If you ask him to play zone coverage, he's fine with that. He understands. This kid's a smart kid. When you watch him play, he doesn't look like he's out of place or he's out of position, or when he needs to be doing something. Does he have to carry? Does he have to carry deep? Does he have to settle? He looks like, to me, he's in position to where he needs to be. And then you watch him carry routes. He's going to have those moments where, it's going to be a tight window throw. The receiver's going to make a play on him. Quarterback's going to put the ball where it needs to be. But this kid, he does a great job of making sure, though, that he is not out of position. You're going to have to work to catch the ball on him, and that's the thing I appreciate him. Now, I'll say this overall, though, the Dallas secondary yesterday, give a tip of the cap to them, because they have been much maligned during the year. They've got these guys back, these young guys. They've got guys helping. when when Bland goes out of the game with a foot problem and people are screaming, well, why is Bridges in the game? Why is Bridges in the game? Because Bland's out of the game with a foot problem, and they don't have Carson's down. He was dealing with the hamstring last week, and that's unfortunate for him because when you get him back, and he starts playing well, he gets another injury. Hope that's not a pattern for him. But this team, yesterday, they're playing with guys like Bell. Why is Bell playing? Because Bell's playing because Hooker has back spasms. He can't play. So all of a sudden now you're playing a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you've got all these guys having to step up and play. But with Ravel and those guys, Reedy Stewart, they are battling. They are battling every time they're out there. And I think, like I say, I give a tip of the cap. I don't want to be this guy that's over the top on Ravel because I think that he could be a great player in this league. I believe that when the drafting process was happening last year.
Yeah, and Revel's probably going to keep you from drafting corner, maybe you'll say, Brian?
I don't know because, like I say, there's just looking at it today, there's probably 3 corners that I've already seen that I'll tell you what, that would be, I'd love to have any one of the 3. But you never know what's going to happen. And you don't as we talk, we don't have that second round. You don't have that third round. You don't have those picks right now.
Now Trevon comes back next week.
Right.
Trevon, Revel, Bland in the nickel.
Sure, I think so. I think to me that now you've got some guys that have some length to them. We'll see what happens with St. Brown. He was hurt yesterday in the game. He got his ankle hurt, and we'll see with availability. Detroit's got some quality receivers. Then you're going to turn around. You're going to play Minnesota, and they've got receivers as well. So this thing never stops. I mean, these guys are going to have to play. But yeah, I'm a guy that believes that Diggs is going to have to play. I believe it. I know that with the way things are going right now, they're going to need corners. They're going to need healthy corners. And if he's past the injury problems that he's had on the knee, his opposite knee, the surgically repaired knee, then you need him out there playing. He's got the ability to cover. And maybe with the things that are now going better for the defense, he will have a better attitude about playing.
Brian, my whole thing about Diggs.
Am I wishing? Am I trying to talk something into existence?
I think this is the problem.
Yeah.
I think we all have this romantic idea.
I do. You're right.
Of Trevon Diggs.
You're right.
We think about him catching 11 interceptions.
You're right.
And being that guy.
You're right.
And we go, damn, boy, if you take that specific guy.
Yeah.
He ain't been that guy in a couple of years, bro.
Yep, he hadn't been.
If you take that guy and add him with what you've done with Overshown and Quentin Williams and all these guys and all this kind of stuff, then you'll go, man, look at what we can be as a defense. So now we got layers to this thing. It's really about trust, Brian. Mm-hmm. For some reason, some strange, some odd reason, I trust Revel.
Right.
Revel goes through his process. We don't hear any nonsense about Revel. Your sources say Revel comes to work and works hard.
He does.
It ain't no second guessing about Revel.
Yeah.
Diggs, before we even get to 11 interception guy, we don't even know if you're going to play well. We don't know if you're working hard.
All fair.
We don't know how bad you want to be here.
All fair.
We don't know if you're still mad about the Micah thing. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? We just don't know nothing about Trey Diggs. But you're taking the peak optimist side of it.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that because I'm a homer. I'm a fan. I'm not neutral at all.
Right.
I would love it if Trey comes back and he's 11 interception guy. But we are so far removed from that, I don't think you can absolutely trust it.
Yeah.
Now, if Trey Diggs come back, and boy, we going against Detroit, something like that, and he goes line up against Jameson Williams or something like that, and he shuts down Jameson Williams. That'll be a good start to, the trust process, right? But this relationship with Trey Diggs is a toxic relationship that we keep breaking up and coming back to. Meanwhile, these other guys just keep working hard. The running back situation, right? I'm not going to veer too far from it because we got time. It's always a conversation about this Jaden Blue thing. Not that he's getting in trouble or nothing like that, but we're asking, what's going on?
Be a pro.
Is it what's the business is? And Malik Davis off the couch, y'all ain't got to worry about me, coach. I'll run a touchdown and tackle somebody on special teams after. It's all about trust, Brian. And I just think Cowboy Nation, I don't think that they're doubting Diggs. Diggs is probably still talented as all get out, but we just simply do not trust him right now. But I'll tell you about some people that we do trust. We're going to tell you about Ownwell right now.
Homeowners, a quick timeout. That property tax bill that your county's about to drop on you, You don't have to eat it. Ownwell can fight it for you in about 3 minutes. No upfront cost, nothing out of pocket. They handle the whole process, the paperwork, the appeal, even the hearing if it goes that far. Most people end up in getting their value lowered and saving around $1,100. It's a no-win, no-fee deal. If they don't save you money, you don't pay. Once you're in, they keep checking every year, so the savings stack season after season. Do us a solid. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. That supports our show, and you'll get a free savings estimate in minutes. Ownwell keeps it simple. Less stress, lower tax bill, more money back. Everybody wins. Make sure you tell them Bryan sent you.
Man, Bryan Broaddus, appreciate you for the Ownwell, reading the information, all that kind of stuff.
Thank you, sir.
You know what I learned about these Ownwell reads, what I've learned about myself?
What's that?
We'll go out and our chat and, just people that watch, they're very like receptive to the to the reads that we do. And I realize like everybody got houses, but I don't. Like, everybody's like property owners except me.
Yeah.
So I see people in the chat going, oh man, there's Ownwell stuff. I need to call them and check on my property.
They do save you some money. They do save you some money.
Like our chat is super receptive, and I'm reading. I'm like, damn, boy, I'm just renting.
Yeah. One day, lake house. One day, you can live in your lake house. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all Ownwell, but man, Bryan, bro, I think this Cowboys team. I'm about to talk about offense for a long time. I've been watching that clock. I'm about to talk about offense for a while, Bryan. Mm-hmm. I think games like this do such a job for the narrative. Sometimes people get lazy.
Yeah.
When I say people, I don't mean like me and you. We do a lot of work on this thing, but sometimes national media, when they're not watching closely, they'll take a narrative and they'll run with it, even if it's a 10-year narrative, no matter how much information that you have. But it's something about these primetime games.
Yeah.
There's a narrative around number 4 about him folding in the biggest game.
Sure.
About him being a choke artist and all this kind of nonsense. Bryan, we know that ain't true, but that's just what the people in them say, Bryan. But this year, Bryan, whether it be Dak keeping you in the Giants game, or Dak keeping you in the Packers game, they won't give him credit for that one, Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
Dak's performance in the Eagles game, I still, the haters hanging on for their last little bit of life here, Bryan. But what Dak did on those last couple drives, the clutch factor, when it's as tight as it could be, when it's as stressful as it could possibly be, Bryan, Dak Prescott is reading blitz, and we watch film every week. All these quarterbacks can't dodge and identify blitzes and throw into him like that. Dak is navigating the blitz and the pressure, and he's making plays when his team needed the most. The most impressive thing, and I always talk about how the Cowboys got to learn how to be a championship, big game winning team,
right,
is at the end of the game, as Cowboy fans, we had this feel, PTSD or whatever it may be, where we go, all right, man, Pat Mahomes got the ball back with like,
oh yeah, there's
no way.
No. Yeah.
There's no way. And Dak Prescott and George Pickens for that matter, we're going to go over it, but Dak Prescott for that matter, he kept his cool and he kept Pat Mahomes from getting the ball back at the game, and he won the daggum game on the back of a Pickens throw in the corner, a scramble, Javonte Williams throw on the right side, Bryan. Talk about your quarterback, because what happens sometimes, we get so caught up in these games talking about the new people.
Yeah.
We become numb to greatness. Don't be numb to greatness, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like let's give Dak his flowers, because as good as you could be in all these other places, if Jerry decided I don't want to pay Dak last year, then we looking goofy and we ready to draft quarterbacks next year.
Sure.
Bryan, talk to him about Dak and how he looked.
Yeah, I think to me, and you mentioned it, really that game right there, and we've talked about really Dak all year and how he's had to navigate some of the pressures that he's had to do with. There was games, the Arizona game was the one where all of a sudden the pressure, his ability to move around and buy time to make the right throw. Arizona game wasn't great for him that way. I mean, that was some quick pressure there. But ever since, they've really done a nice job. The line has done a good job of playing together and getting more time on task to being able to kind of help him with some of the protection. We talk about Williams, not only with the blitz pickup stuff, his ability to run the football, George Pickens and what he's done. There's a lot of people that are helping him along the way. But Dak Prescott this year, he's doing the right things with the ball. He's reading defenses. He's seeing what he needs to see. He's making really, really good decisions, and he's been able to kind of manipulate things in the pocket to kind of help your team, win these games here. And so to me, I've been super impressed with his ability to be able to navigate all that. And, he's had some times where he's had to play with the backup line. There's been one receiver on, one receiver off, maybe some things kind of not going completely correct. But yesterday against the Chiefs, when you absolutely had to have a drive to kill that game at the end, they were able to come up with it. Brian Schottenheimer, that offense, they took that ball with about 3.5 minutes to go in the game and knew that if they gave it back, there was probably a chance that they might lose that football game. And that's desperation. That's pressure. That's all that stuff that you want to entail. That's all on your quarterback. That's all on your play caller. That's all on your offense right there. But for them to be able to get through that last 3.5 minutes, make Kansas City use all their timeouts, get through a 2-minute warning, and then be able to kneel the ball 3 times to end that game with Pat Mahomes, Hall of Fame quarterback, sitting on that sideline and not getting another chance, that's as good as it gets right there. You cannot have a situation in the National Football League any better than taking a ball, driving it, making a team use all its timeouts, making it use the 2-minute warning, and then finding a way that they never, ever get it back. That right there might be one of the most impressive things. A lot of things we've seen from Dak Prescott in his career that have been pretty impressive, the throws he's made, the leadership that he shows. But when you duel with a quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback, and in the back of your mind, I can't give him this ball back, and you succeed that way, that's a high mark in my book.
Brian, truth or cap? Tell me if I'm telling the truth or tell me if I'm capping.
Okay.
It seems like this Cowboys offense is going to thrive by getting CD the ball early.
Yeah.
And when it gets thick and you need the win and the tight plays and the clutch play, you get it to GP later. Is that truth or is that cap, Brian?
I think that's truth. I think that's truth. I think CD Lamb is one of these guys. It reminds me very much of Dez Bryant. When you would have problems getting him the ball early in the game, it would affect how he would play throughout a game. I think with CD, you get him going, you get him in a feel of the game and how it's flowing, and all of a sudden now he's making those plays very, very early in the game. I think that, to me, it's super impressive that you have the type of receivers. But listen, you watch this film and you'll see George Pickens. When it comes down to everybody in the stadium knows he's about to run a slant, and he still slaps the defender out of the way and gets inside to get the ball, and Dak puts it right on him. That right there, that is, you talk about impressive. That even Brad Sham last night in the broadcast, as I was listening to him, and he says, Babe asked him a question. Brad goes, whatever you do, throw the ball to Pickens here. He knew that situation. But these two receivers, like I say, they really kind of, you're going to need them both. And if one of them gets it going early and the other one picks it up late, then all better for the offense.
On GP's 6 catches, there was an out route.
Yeah,
there was like a little comeback on the right side of the field, coming back to the football, going outwards, and it was faux slants, Brian.
Yeah,
faux slants.
Yeah,
a couple of them was just back to back.
Right.
And I wonder if defenses are going to try to read that and take it away. But I don't think you can, because the deep threat is so
right.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't just go, I'm just going to press Pickens all day. And then Shotty gets to kind of do some scientific things like, we're going to run these dragon concepts to where if you bite too heavy inside, there's somebody wide open in the flats behind them.
Right.
Or, scats or just whatever concept you want to run. You just can't overcompensate for the GP slant. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say you almost have to let it happen. But I keep going back to the Green Bay game, playoffs, right? A couple years ago, and just Brandon
had nobody that can run a slant.
Brandon Cooks couldn't get off the press. CeeDee Lamb couldn't get off the press. Jalen Tolbert couldn't get off the press. And I wonder if GP was in that game, or if you just take this team and put it there, George Pickens will be able to beat all the presses, Bryan Broaddus. And I'm happy to have him. I hope Jerry don't play games with this situation.
Sure.
I hope this doesn't turn into GP's missing camp because of this, type stuff. But I don't know. I texted you last night, Brian.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd be damned. They're targeting Trent McDuffie.
They are.
You know what I'm saying?
And it was a good call on your part because you in the breakdown you were talking about like, listen, teams are kind of going at this guy a little bit, even though he's only given up about 40 yards a game, you know. But teams are trying.
And CD got those 40 yards back like a couple of catches.
Sure.
So he was already the best receiver that is going against McDuffie. You think that was part of the plan, or do you think that McDuffie just happened to be on CD, but it was Shotty's plan to get CD involved?
I think that it was just he just happened to be there.
Yeah,
I think that the plan was to get him the football right there. And let me real quick if I could circle back about the Pickens stuff too. Is the last slant he caught? You talked about it. It went flat slant.
Yes,
sir. that combination, and Kansas City really didn't even honor. They didn't honor the flat.
Right.
I mean, teams know that this guy is going to catch that ball, and Dak will take one step back and throw it. He won't even. I mean, Dak won't. The only way you really stop this play is if you bat the ball at the line of scrimmage. That's really kind of the only way to stop this play. Because George does such a great job of winning off the line. He's not the fastest guy. So when people press him, he knows how to get himself separated, and he knows how to slap, he knows how to push, he knows how to lean on people. That's what makes him such a quality receiver. And there's, like we say, teams know what's coming. They don't even honor Williams going to the flat. They try and kind of somewhat bracket him, and it works out that way. But yeah, I just kind of the things with both Lamb and the Pickens, it is going to be, and the targeting going after McDuffie. Is it something you want to try and do all the time? Probably not. But look what happened. They had some production against him. They also drew some DPIs off that too. And that's what these receivers can do.
You know what I was really happy about yesterday, Brian? Shotty will come out in the press conference and say, hey, look, I got mad and we got away from something.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams was 17 for 59. He averaged 3.5 yards a carry. You didn't go away from the run, though.
He did not.
You didn't go away from the run.
He did not.
And that's kind of what, I was asking last week. I was like, man, do you just have to keep running the ball?
Yeah. Or
do you have to run the ball effectively? I think the Cowboys kind of answered it, man. I think they're going to run the ball anyway, and the Chiefs are a team that's their defense is good at versus the run. We mentioned that all week, Brian. And then like Malik Davis going there, and get his 3 carries, and one of them is a chunk play, 49 yards or whatever, Brian. I'm at 47 yards. I'm just like, man, moving forward, I know you're going to run into some teams that are going to be decent versus the run.
Sure.
Is that going to be the formula moving forward? More Malik Davis maybe, or was that we just going to give Javonte a break and he made the most of his 3 carries?
Yeah.
I would like to see a world where we look at Malik like we looked at Jayden Blue. See, what we thought was going to happen with Jayden Blue, it didn't happen, though. Yeah. I thought Jayden was going to be a part of the passing game.
Sure.
I thought he was going to line up at wide receiver, Brian, and I thought that he was then going to get some of his carries.
Yeah.
But he wasn't going to be you're going to play because Javonte is tired guy. I asked you last week, and you said Malik Davis probably only going to get carries when Javonte gets tired. Yeah. That is what happens. But every time that happens, it's like Joe Randall. Remember Joe Randall?
Yeah.
Joe Randall, not the number 1 guy.
Mm-hmm.
Murray's the number 1 guy.
Right.
But every time Joe Randall would have a big run like this, Malik Davis, with his limited opportunities, have had those Joe Randall type plays. Now, can we expect in these 2 big games, by the way, moving forward, can we expect Malik Davis to have a Joe Randall type impact to where handful of carries, but we can expect a big run out of him at some point?
Yeah, I think so because I
think Blue is done for the year, by the way.
Oh, I don't disagree with you, and I don't think Phil Moffa's coming up either.
I agree.
I think this is they're going to ride these 2 running backs down the stretch is what they're going to do, and you mentioned it right in the opening. You give me a 40-something yard run and you give me a tackle on special teams, I'm going to continue to have you as one of the 48 every week. If I know I can rely on you to do those things, then I'm going to continue to play you that way. I don't think we're going to see Blue anymore, and I don't think we're going to see Phil Moffa unless some injuries or something like that happens. But to your point, I have a hard time taking Williams off the field, but I know now, the thing that makes Davis interesting in the way that he plays is he's got that vision. He's got that ability to cut. He's a downhill runner. When you look at the Cowboys and the way they come off the football and, really some really quality blocks at the point of attack on that run for him to get that touchdown. You got guys that you got trap blocks and you've got guys blocking down and that thing opens up and you got a really good seal block inside and next but you have to have the vision. You have to have the burst. You have to have the speed to be able to finish those runs. And I think that's what Davis does. Davis is doing the things that we wished that Blue would do. It just didn't work out this year. We'll see what happens, next year with, an opportunity. We saw the same thing with Guyton. With Guyton, there was some maturity questions. Is it important to him? Is he being a pro? Maybe that's what you're dealing with right now with Blue. He's just kind of, being a little comfortable, but they've got guys that are willing. When he plays, he's going to give you everything. But me, I have a hard time taking Williams off the field because I just see how well he pass protects, how well he catches the football and how well he runs the ball. But he is going to need a break in some of these games. I'll say this. I think that there are going to be some teams that are going to play probably better run defense against you. I don't think that matters to the Cowboys anymore. I think the Cowboys are committed to saying, listen, if we can get 100, 115, 128, 150 yards, whatever they can get in a game, they feel like that's cool. They have no problem with that. They just don't need the game where they have 20 carries for 26 yards. Yeah. And they probably won't have that as long as Williams is running the football.
I got one more question for you, Brian, and we're going to get up out of here because I got to take my mother shopping and eat some leftovers.
Yeah.
Brian, football math doesn't work. It typically doesn't exist, football math. Just because one team beat another team and you beat that team, you feel like you beat that team, whatever. I watched Detroit play yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a little early for us. We're going to break them down next week. I just wrote down what we're going to do next week, so y'all stay tuned for that. Brian, I was watching Detroit play yesterday, man. They weren't inspiring. They didn't inspire a whole bunch of fear in me.
Sure.
What I'm saying? But it's football math.
Yeah.
The Cowboys inspired the shit out of me, Bryan Broaddus. I ain't gonna lie. I got up and did a little dance after I saw my Cowboys did. This is the toughest game you have left over.
Right.
Detroit. After that, you got some division games that you think are manageable. The Chargers are going to play. Minnesota's not going to roll over and let you whoop them. But as far as inducing fear, Detroit this next Thursday is the last one. Brian, off the back of this Kansas City win and the Philadelphia win, with the defense and how they playing, Bryan Broaddus, you ain't got to break it down because we'll do that next week. But what's your general feel about this Detroit game? We felt like in this stretch of 3 games, you felt like you had to win 2 of them.
Right.
They won 2, right?
Right.
But we felt like it was going to be some of the most difficult stuff in the world, Brian. Just where you at with the Cowboys right now versus Detroit? Like, how do you feel going into that game?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that Detroit is going to have some problems with their offense. I really, really do. And we'll see. There was some whispers in the press box last night that maybe Frank Ragnow was going to come out of retirement and play for Detroit at center. So, I mean, without knowing a lot about Detroit, I know they got a little banged up in that game against Green Bay. But this is a game now, I think Dallas is better equipped to go and win this type of game. It is going to be a physical game. It's going to be Dan Campbell his team's also in that desperation mode. We're getting to the point now where teams are trying to find a way to get into playoff position. And the NFC North is no exception. Depending on what happens with Philadelphia and Chicago tonight as we watch that game, there's a lot of things going on in NFC North. So Detroit probably feels like they're not out of anything right now. They haven't been playing to their levels that we've seen them in the past. But Dallas has to feel better about their situation offensively in what they have with the 2 wide receivers, with the tight end, with the running game, and the way that the offensive line is coming together. Defensively, though, they're become a problem to deal with when it comes with their inside pressure and when it comes with their defensive tackles, the linebacker play, all those things. You got a bunch of young corners, and hopefully you'll get Diggs back to also help. Maybe Carson will be back to help as well. So you're going to need all hands on deck defensively, but Dallas is better equipped now to go win a game like this against a very difficult Detroit team.
I hope Frank Ragnow has been lifting weights or wrestling his kids or something, because this is a hell of a game to come back.
He is talking about. There was whispers in the press box last night that he was thinking about coming back, and maybe they were trying to help for the playoff run. So I'm sure we're going to look into what Detroit does as the week wears on, and look at their offensive line and say, okay, are they having problems at center? Are they having problems at guard? I know you and I will figure out where those problems are and try and take advantage of them.
Nothing to make me happy than Quentin Williams beating the shit out of some dude that's been on the couch for the past 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That'll just make me smile.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all write this down. This will be on the test. This is how it's going to go. It's a weird week. We're going to come back and do film on Monday because we got another Thursday game, okay? So it's a tight week. So we're going to do film on Monday, okay? Then me and Bryan going to come in and break down Detroit's offense on Tuesday. Okay. And we're going to come back and break down Detroit's defense on Wednesday. You know what I'm talking about? And then we're going to go play a game on Thursday.
Right.
Beat the hell out of Detroit again because I'm a homer, and that's how we get down. And we're going to come back Friday again, and we're going to do this all over again, talk about how we just beat the hell out of Detroit and how the Cowboys playoff picture is all shaping out. So I appreciate y'all. Before we leave, though, man, hold on, we got the golden phone camera. Man, Zach, put this on camera, man. Hold on, we got golden phone camera up. Man, Zach, you see what we got going on here? Hey, come on, man. Put me on camera 3 so we can see Bryan Broaddus with his on here. You're looking like a cowboy Crown Global.
Yeah, how about that, man?
Here. You can get the logo, or you can get the Doin Alright, whatever you like. You feel me? Go on there. See if you got something you like. And it's holiday season. We running some deals. Zach, we running deals or something? We got a Black Friday deal or something like that? No, don't worry. All right, cool. Hey, look, don't even worry. Hey, but listen, we appreciate y'all for supporting us, whatever it is y'all want to do. If you want to support with a hoodie or a beanie, these beanies kind of fly, I'm not going to lie to you. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all, whatever you decide to do. But go to the website, crownglobemedia.com. That's where you find the links to everything, who we working with. You can take a look at our content up there, our social media pages, whatever you're looking for. The audio, Spotify, is moving on up, so appreciate truckers tapping in with us. That's Bryan Broaddus. I'm VOCHLONBARDI. Y'all just practice a little bit of gratitude. That's what this whole thing is kind of all about. And it sounds cliche-ish this time of year, you know what I'm saying? But even everybody should have something to be grateful for. You know what I mean? Even if you're doing bad, you got 10 fingers and 10 toes. You know, if you ain't got 10 fingers and 10 toes, at least you got something else you can be happy about. So just find what you happy about and don't worry about what you don't have. We'll catch y'all Monday. We love you. Crown.